Ray, can you tell us a little bit about the origins of Fahrenheit?
Well, I grew up around radio. When I was 10 years old, I saw that how radio was beginning to affect the society in America. It was changing things. And along the way, I fell in love with libraries. And I began to see that libraries were beginning to be neglected. And so I got to a certain age, I thought I had to write a book about burning books. It was only natural because I saw the beginnings of TV were beginning to do what they were going to do to people. So therefore, radio and TV influenced me to begin writing Fahrenheit.
Fahrenheit and Playboy have a long history and a very interesting shared special moment early on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I started the magazine in 1953, the very end of 1953. And I was already a fan of Ray's. And Fahrenheit 451 had been in book form, but never in a magazine. And one has to remember what the if one does, remember what the 1950s were like. A story about book burning in the future seemed so perfect for its time and so perfect for the magazine that I was planning on publishing that all I could do was contact Mr. Bradbury and tell him what I was doing. And he became excited about what I was doing and was kind enough to let us serialize in what I believe was the 3rd and 4th and 5th issues of Playboy, the now iconic Fahrenheit 451. And I am forever grateful and proud that it appeared in our pages.
And absolutely. You know, it's a book that's been banned through the years in certain places, and that's sort of that's a badge of honor in itself. Why do you think the book endures to this day and echoes so strongly?
Because I do think that it speaks to the very nature of repression and freedom and democracy. And the inspiration, of course, was the notion that the book burning would be done by firemen who were supposed to put out fires. And the title itself, the temperature at which books burn, was inspired and of its time and of every time.
You know, Ray, with your writing, I know that you still write vigorously. You still create every day.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that? That shows an amazing vigor and of course, an amazing imagination.
I love life, and I love writing as a result. So I've prepared a new book of short stories, and the title is Juggernaut. It will be published next Christmas.
I think Juggernaut's a pretty good description of an imagination that is so prolific. When do you do your writing? Do you do it in the morning?
I get out of bed and explode every morning. I throw up in the morning and I clean up at noon.
I think it's a metaphor. I saw that you once described yourself as a pomegranate, and I thought that was a lively description.
Pomegranate is me. I love writing novels. I love writing short stories. I love writing screenplays. I love writing teleplays. I love writing stage plays. I love writing poetry. I love writing prose. So therefore, I'm a pomegranate.
A pomegranate's full of 1 billion seeds, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. When you look back on Fahrenheit, what does it mean to you? The book has meant so much to so many people, but for you as a creator, has it changed through the years what it means to you?
I'm astounded to see what happened. The great thing about writing is you must not know what you're doing, But when it's done and suddenly explodes before you, and I see what a change Fahrenheit has helped in our society today. All across America, Fahrenheit is helping libraries to survive, and it's helping bookstores to survive also. The important thing is libraries. They're more important than colleges or universities, because libraries are free. The important thing is knowledge should be free. You don't have to pay for it.
Outstanding. You know, the way that people read has changed, and you know, you've been in the business of communications and publishing for so long now, and I wonder, when you look out and you consider the way people read and what they read, how you feel about that? Are you dismayed or concerned or optimistic?
Well, something in between, obviously. I think that you know, progress, so-called, the technological progress, gives us, and certainly the internet and the television and the way that we communicate now is a mixed blessing. It has given us a form of communication that is worldwide and is wonderful, but the method of communication now and education in reading has changed, and it is not the same to read from the internet, to read from a book or a magazine or a newspaper. The experience is not the same. So my only concern related to all of that is young people are growing up with less of a sense of yesterday. They don't have the same sense of who we were before. And if you don't know who you were before, you don't really know who you are. I would like to take a moment on a different and related subject. I would like to publicly, for the very first time, thank Ray for something else that he did that very few people are aware of. He brought to me a young writer, and he was the mentor of that writer, Charles Beaumont, now prematurely gone. And Charles Beaumont told us our very first original story, because in the very beginning of Playboy, because we didn't have any money, the early stories in Playboy were reprints. The first original story to appear in Playboy was by Charles Beaumont, and it was called Black Country, and it was about a black musician. And a year after that, he brought us a science fiction story that Esquire had rejected because of its controversy. The title of it was a science fiction story called The Crooked Man. And it was the story of a future society in which gay was the way of things and heterosexual was the aberration and was persecuted. And in the 1950s, that was a very controversial notion. Believe me. And we published it, and it was the very beginning of a time that was, back then, very homophobic. And I was very proud to have published it. And Charles Beaumont had a long, illustrious, until his untimely death, connection to us, and his contribution, along with the many things that Ray himself brought to us, I am forever grateful.
Well, outstanding. And as exciting as films are, there's nothing quite as exciting as books, and there's nothing that makes me happier than sitting up here tonight with these folks. And let's get the movie started, but first, let's give an ovation to Mr. Hefner and Mr. Bradbury.